Hello and welcome to this explainer. I invite you to just take a slow, deep breath with me right now as we get started. In our time together today, we're going to explore something that's profoundly intimate, yet deeply relevant to almost all of us. We're talking about the space we call silence. We live in a world that honestly treats silence as a blank, empty space, this terrifying vacuum that's just waiting to be filled up. From the very moment we wake up, we're conditioned, sometimes subtly and sometimes pretty aggressively, to believe that our worth is directly tied to our productivity. We're taught that every single open moment has to be optimized, and that to simply rest is to somehow fall behind. So let's gently dive into this together and unpack the surprisingly heavy burden of the day off. Because of all this constant, overwhelming external noise, a lot of us have quite literally learned to fear the quiet. When the music stops, or the laptop finally closes, or when we look at a completely empty calendar, this really uncomfortable restlessness creeps in. And usually, we mistake that discomfort for a sign that something is wrong with us. We feel this inner static and immediately think we need to find a quick fix, or maybe just another task to complete. But what if that static isn't a signal to do more? What if it's simply the sound of your inner world finally waiting to be heard? Let's picture a highly familiar modern scene. You've just finished a long, really demanding week of work. You've intentionally kept your Friday night entirely free. You've been telling yourself all week long how much you are looking forward to some well-deserved peace and quiet. Yet the very moment you actually sit down on the couch and the room goes completely still, this unexpected wave of intense restlessness or even anxiety just washes right over you. Instead of feeling deeply relaxed like you thought you would, you feel intensely uncomfortable in your own skin. And what happens next? Well, within minutes, we reach for a digital shield to avoid the quiet. We mindlessly scroll through our phones or hit subscribe on our favorite YouTube channels, which honestly you definitely should do for this channel since a brand new explainer drops every single Thursday to give your brain the absolute perfect, high-quality distraction when you're running away from the quiet. So go ahead, hit that like button right now. It's a great distraction. Okay, but seriously, let's take a breath, gently put that digital shield down, and explore exactly why we fear that quiet so much in the first place. You see, distraction acts as a shield because that sudden drop in external stimulation forces us to confront our inner landscape. In the frantic rush of daily performance, we routinely override our emotions. We ignore our fatigue, we push past our intuitive signals, all just to keep functioning. So when the external noise finally stops, all of that ignored backlog, the exhaustion, the self-doubt, the sadness, it all rises right to the surface. It's profoundly true that when we constantly run from the quiet, we slowly disconnect from our own core. We keep ourselves busy not because we genuinely want to, but because staying with ourselves just feels way too vulnerable. Now, what's really fascinating is how our entire perspective shifts just by looking at the roots of our language. Words really do shape how we live. The word silence actually comes from the Latin silere, which means to be quiet or still. But crucially, it didn't originally mean a total absence of sound. It implied a resting state, a deliberate pausing of outward activity. Similarly, presence comes from praesentia, meaning being at hand or within reach. So staying with yourself isn't about forcing your mind to go completely blank. It's the practice of becoming at hand for your own life. It means making yourself available to listen inwardly without any judgment. Section 1. The neurobiology of the quiet mind. Our discomfort with stillness isn't just some psychological hurdle we made up. It is deeply rooted in how our brains actually process modern life. There's a brilliant scientific aha moment here that proves exactly why the quiet feels so heavy. The crucial point is understanding these two neural systems. When we're working, planning, and optimizing everything, our brain operates in the central executive network, or the CEN. Think of this as the neurological engine of our performance culture. But the moment we step away from those tasks and enter a state of quiet rest, a completely different system takes over, the default mode network, or the DMN. You can think of the CEN as your outward-facing problem-solving self, while the DMN is your inward-facing digesting self. So when you transition from a frantic pace to sudden silence, here is exactly what your brain is doing. Your default mode network lights up. It immediately begins processing self-reflection, integrating memories, regulating your emotions, and sparking creative intuition. Basically, it's processing the massive backlog of thoughts and feelings you simply didn't have time to feel during the day. This sudden surge of internal activity isn't anxiety. It's actually your brain digesting and making sense of your life. But if we don't understand this entirely natural process, we panic. We seek out a distraction to basically turn the default mode network off. But by interrupting it, we prevent our nervous systems from organizing our lives. I want to softly reassure you here, awareness is so much more powerful than force. By simply allowing this natural network to do its job without interrupting it with endless scrolling or other distractions, we build genuine, lasting emotional resilience. Section 2. The deep benefits of inner presence. When you actively choose to sit with yourself, even if it's just for a few minutes a day, you invite some truly profound shifts into your life. You stop running from the quiet, and in doing so, you unlock a whole new way of experiencing your own existence. Let's look at exactly what happens when we stop running. First off, you gain true emotional clarity. You stop being at the mercy of these automatic reactive loops because you're finally giving your feelings some conscious space. Second, you find freedom from the exhausting need to perform. You begin to dismantle that deeply ingrained belief that your personal worth has to be earned through constant achievement. You realize you don't need fixing, you just need space. And third, you reconnect with your genuine intuition. Stillness restores your sensitivity to your inner world, allowing you to hear your own voice clearly above the loud expectations of everyone else. Section 3. Practical pathways, how to stay with yourself. Returning to yourself is absolutely not a skill you perfect overnight. It's a gentle, lifelong practice of remembrance. It's really about building a comforting familiarity with your own internal landscape. Let's look at some actionable pathways to build this comfort, starting with self-attunement. Just set a timer for 5 minutes. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and bring your attention entirely inward. Notice where you might be holding tension. Notice any emotions floating around in your chest. And as you observe them, just repeat this gentle internal phrase, "You are allowed to feel this." Do not try to fix the tension, just watch it. By explicitly permitting yourself to feel whatever is present, you step completely out of internal resistance and invite mindful presence. The second pathway is what we call the art of gentle inquiry. When you feel that sudden, urgent impulse to check your phone or distract yourself from a quiet moment, just pause for a single breath. Ask yourself silently and without any judgment whatsoever, what am I avoiding feeling right now? Or is this frantic pace truly mine? Letting whatever answer comes just be there loosens you identification with automatic behaviors. It empowers you to actually choose conscious presence over compulsive distraction. The third pathway beautifully bridges the gap between total stillness and active life. It's the low stimulus walk. Take just 15 minutes and leave your phone and your headphones at home. Walk and focus purely on your physical senses, the texture of the ground beneath your feet, the ambient sounds around you. This gently engages your default mode network and teaches your nervous system that you can be active and moving without the immense pressure to constantly perform or consume information. As we draw this explainer to a close, I want to leave you with this deeply comforting truth. Silence is not an absence of life. It is the very presence of it. The discomfort you feel in the quiet is not a sign that you are broken. It's simply an invitation to stop running. When you step away from the relentless demand to perform and produce, you aren't losing anything at all. You are gaining yourself. Your inner world is a rich, intelligent landscape that is profoundly worth exploring. So I leave you with this thought. The next time a quiet moment arrives and that totally familiar urge to distract yourself creeps in, will you take a slow breath, trust your own rhythm, and stay with yourself?